had got angered with him, and I want to say the Arab Egyptians, not the black ones, got angered with him because he was speaking about the ancient Egyptians being black.
And there was this huge debate going on, mostly among the Egyptian elite, right? People who know who Kevin Hart is were angered by the fact that Kevin Hart said, or was rooted in this Afrocentric theory about ancient Egyptian history that says that ancient Egyptian people were black, which, if you have ever been to Egypt, especially if you've been to Upper Egypt, there are so many black Egyptians. So the fact that Egyptians themselves continue to perpetuate this narrative that there are no black Egyptians / ancient Egyptians were not black, for me, I'm y'all lost Kevin Hart.
This is all part of what's called obfuscation. That means to hide something, in order to be disingenuous. It's intentionally being disingenuous. If you actually hear the word Kemet, one is that they never want you to hear the word Kemet, which is why they say ancient Egypt. They would prefer you never ever hear the word Kemet in your life. Then they have an easy route. All you hear is ancient Egypt, ancient Egypt. But then if you do hear the word Kemet, then the next level of obfuscation is, Kemet means that the soil is black. It doesn't mean the people are black, it means the soil is black. And then if you get past that, then they'll even say, Kemet doesn't even mean black at all. And I've heard all three from the same person, right? Okay, it means black, but it doesn't refer to the people, it refers to the soil. When I actually look at the primary text from classical Kemet, you'll find text after text about how everything in Kemet was about keeping non-blacks out of the land of black people. So for black people, our name is our constitution. That's on an individual level, but it's also on a collective level. The reason why we called it Kemet was to make sure that black people, this is literally the land of black people. So if you don't understand the meaning of Kemet, you won't understand anything that's going on there. Now, if you understand the meaning of Kemet, then it becomes perfectly clear. But if you start saying, Kemet is black, let's shut that down. But if you say, Kemet doesn't mean black, all right, let's give that guy more views, let's boost that up, let's give him more subscribers.
This is another fabrication of the Europeans, or we refer to as Greek mythology, that has been placed for foreigners to strive to put themselves into history. When you go back and study those time periods, or what they refer to as the Nile Valley civilization, everything in the Nile Valley at that time was a civilized people. When we go back and study the release, we see that the ancient Egyptians or the Canaanites had an initiative system that you had to go through in order to be risen up. In that time period, they would say that the Greeks or the Vikings or the freaks would be impossibly incapable of taking on that initiative of going through those particular laws that were set through U.N.I.A. So when we start talking about the people there in ancient Kemet, we don't start seeing foreigners start to come in into around the 13th to the 15th dynasty BC by people called the Hyksos. And the Hyksos were considered to be a West Semitic tribe of people that came in, and our people took them in and ascribed to physicianing on them because of some of the curses and some of the leprosy and things that they had there on them at that time, which enforced them to eventually fall into a certain form of a curse, or they had a certain disease that laid on them. Our ancestors, being a merciful and a loving people, striving to physician them, eventually they were overtaken by this tribe of people called the Hyksos. And for 200 years or more, they ruled ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt as foreigners that came in on the land and started to change and alter some of the ways of our ancient history. So when we go back and look and study these things, we understand that the foreigners or Europeans then came in until lateral, was able to come into ancient Kemet and be able to profess some of the teachings and have certain rites or passages to even come in on the land at that time period. Right? So we must understand this is another reason why Alexander became Alexander of Egypt. From Alexander the Great, who came in and conquered, or at least came into that area, and eventually started to put his philosophy and some of his twists on that land, which will alter how you and I would view the people that were there at that time. Not to mention, when you go back and look at the Sphinx noses and some of the gods or deities there, we see that they've been chiseled out. And some would say Napoleon came and shot the noses off of some of the Sphinx, and they would say that others came in and tried to dismantle these images or statues because of their hatred towards the people who they reflect their resemblance, which were the Moorish or the Asiatic or the black or the African or the Cushitic people, right? Which all are one people when you start going to the etymology of who these people truly were. So the many tribes of people as one. So we need to look back at this history and understand who we're talking about when we start going to ancient artifacts and history about who these people were at that time. Do send my peace and love out to you all.